on a magnitude of the DEA's wildest fantasies have we destroyed a drug crop. For people who did not grow up in the country, we didn't have bowling alleys and movie theaters, all that sort of thing. So everything we did was outside. It was swimming holes and dirt bikes and four-wheelers and riding horses. And that involved trespassing on other people's property most of the time. And as long as you didn't tear anything up or start a fire, do something bad, it was generally okay. You know, you'd occasionally somebody run you off, but generally it was okay. So this story happens when I'm in high school. And I don't say that to excuse how stupid we are, but to sort of explain how stupid we were. There was an old quarry that had flooded years before, and it was like our swimming hole. You know, the high end was about 7 stories. You know, the brave kids would jump off of there, and we'd swim around, and it was pretty fun. At some point, some company had bought it and put up a gate, and you know, we were all kind of bummed because we were a bunch of redneck high school kids up in Northwest Georgia, and we loved to go swimming out there. In our amateur cartography skills, we thought we could find a back way into this quarry. So 2 friends of mine and I will probably have to change their names because one of them is in law enforcement now and he probably wouldn't participate in it. Let's call him Justin. And the other guy is Doug. Doug had this little Ford Ranger, probably a mid 80s, just a 4-cylinder, the tiny little 13-inch wheel, just the worst. It was this weird kind of flat burgundy color, single cab, 4-speed, just the worst of the worst. But, you know, he had a truck. We thought it was great. So we go and we kind of circle around this plot of probably several hundred, maybe a few thousand acres. And there was this one stretch of road that had a really nice house on it. And, you know, again, we lived in a poor area of the state. Nobody had swimming pools and landscaping, you know, but there was this one house and they had this really nice pool and they were on a river and a pretty big house. And, you know, so we were like, wow, you know, what's this guy got going on? Well, right across from him were some fields that looked like they would kind of go back to kind of up this valley to this ore mine. Nobody's around, so we turn into the field road and we drive around it and we get to the back of the field and there's another field and, you know, there's a fence there, but it's obviously the wires have been cut many times and twisted back together. So we untwist them, drive the truck through, twist them back, you know, covering your tracks. And we do this to about 2 or 3 more fields, and we finally get to the back field, and it's on one of those stretches. You ever been doing on the highway and you see all those pine trees that are planted in these really orderly rows? You know, the Forest Service does it, that sort of thing. Well, it was a big plot of those, and they were going in the right direction. So we just sort of drove the truck into between the rows of the trees, and it fit fine. And we're driving, and the weeds are, you know, we're no longer in the field, so the weeds are getting a little deeper, and you know, it gets to the point where, you know, they're higher than the hood of the truck, but you know, it's kind of like that scene in Romance in the Stone where they're driving through the cornfield. You can't really see, but you know, we can see the trees, and we know we're not going to hit anything, so we're kind of hee-hee-hee-ha. Doug's driving, and we're just mowing down these weeds, and this is pretty fun and exciting. So we get to the end of the row, and we turn around and we do the no row. We do like 3 rows of this, you know, just this is exciting. You know, the novelty wore off. So we stop the truck at the far end and we get out and we hiked around for about a half hour, an hour, just where it must have been in the wrong valley. Never could quite find the quarry. We're walking back to the truck, and as we get within, you know, a few hundred yards of the truck, we can't see it, but we can hear like an ATV or something kind of motored around. And we figured we'd probably been busted by the property owner. And again, we haven't done anything, you know, so let's just hang back here in the woods, let them go away. Maybe they'll call our parents or something. But, you know, we're all about 17 years old, 18 years old. They leave in a few minutes. So we sneak back to the truck and we get in and we turn around. And as we're turning around, you know, we're kind of looking around for a second, and I'm not an expert. This is about 1990. This is probably right before like Snoop Dogg and the Chronic has come out. So we don't really all know what a marijuana leaf looks like. But we'd had a couple of drug classes at school and a few things. And then suddenly we look around and we realize that we have driven over tens of thousands of marijuana plants. And this is, you know, school's back in. This is probably September. This kind of right around like harvest time. I've since learned, again, I don't even smoke cigarettes. I've never done drugs, but in the 20 or so years since this story, I've come to learn this guy, we're talking a 6-7 figure crop here, and we have destroyed it. So we were like, oh my God, like what have we done? So, we get in the truck. We're like, we got to get out of here. But well, they're still out there too. Well, they're going to come back. What do we do? I don't know the way out of here. What's going on? So, we get in the truck. And Justin is not a short guy, but shorter than Doug and I. We're both about 6 foot, 6'1" or so. So he's in the middle. Doug's driving. I'm in the passenger seat. We start creeping out very quietly, and we, of course, have no choice but to drive out again. So we figure, well, we've already destroyed these 3 rows of pot plants. Let's don't make it any worse. Each of these rows is a good quarter mile and wide. I mean, on a magnitude of the DEA's wildest fantasies, have we destroyed a drug crop? Again, being high schoolers, we know we're in trouble, but looking back, we weren't really smart enough to understand the real gravity of what we've just done. So we creep out and we get to that first fence that was twisted, and it's not even twisted anymore. We're like, okay, so we creep very quietly. We're doing the best stealth mode you can do in 3 kids in a Ford Ranger. I think it's 1990. Doug's probably got some big thumping speakers behind the seat or something like that. So at some point somebody bumps the steering, the radio comes on. So we're turning it off. It's a sunny afternoon. It's about 4 in the afternoon. Bright sunlight. Nowhere to hide. We're just creeping. So we're creeping along, and we get through the next field, almost one more field to go. We are so close to being home free. There's one little hill before you get to the road. As we crest that hill, we see these guys. Now there's the old Honda, the big red 3-wheeler, with the big fat tires on it. There's one guy driving that, and there's another guy behind him walking with this dirty, hairy 44 Magnum gun in his hand. It has a scope on it. The weight of this thing is just he's walking, but it's holding his arm down. And quickly back the truck up. And somehow I think the noise of the 3-wheeler, the guy with the gun couldn't hear the truck, 100 yards behind him because of this 3-wheeler. So we, you back up around the corner and, hedgerow, that sort of thing. We back up around the corner. Doug gets out running, he peeks around. He's like, oh, okay, they're gone. We get back in the truck and we kind of coast down the hill. Imagine, we're coming down this hill. There's the field road. There's this paved road, and this guy's house is across the road, maybe 200 yards down. As we reach the pavement, of course, we look in that direction. They're almost to the driveway. We're like, okay, we don't really know this side of the county real well. I mean, Justin and I were from this side of town, so we kind of knew where we were. So we go to hang a right. As we do, I guess Doug in his nervousness just sort of gets excited, kind of spins the tire a little bit, kicks some gravel. The tires chirp. Guy turns around. Of course, we were like, go, go, go. We look back. The guy aims the gun, and it's just boom! We're several hundred yards away. It was a long shot with a pistol. Somebody is shooting at us. So we're just go, go, go. So we're, driving, and anyway, we're just flying. So these guys quickly are running to this big, they had maybe a late 70s Ford 4-wheel drive pickup truck, the chrome rims and all kind of nice. They get in the truck. Now they're chasing us. Now we've got a good head start, but whatever is in this truck, V8, it's faster than this little Ford Ranger is. So now we are in this Dukes of Hazzard car chase out in the country. And, I've been on these roads a few times. Justin's been on these roads a few times. Doug's never been here in his life. He has no idea. So we're like the worst rally crew ever. Over this hill, the road's going to curve to the left. Okay, now just stop. There's a stop sign coming. We're shouting instructions to him. And he's like, I'm going to need these instructions faster. And, we're just wildly careening down roads. We would get occasionally on a straightaway, and these guys would be far in the back. They could see us, and, a couple more gunshots ring out. 3 guys trying to get below the seat of a Ford Ranger, which is not happening. We're all in each other's laps. So we get kind of a section of the countryside that I kind of know. And again, Doug is not doing a good job with this. He's sort of nervous about, these blind turns. These are, field valleys. So it's a lot of hills and a lot of curves. And if you kind of know what's on the other side, you can sort of go into these turns with a little more confidence. Well, these guys get really close to us at one point. Not close enough to see the license plate, but close. We get in one of those places in the road where the road kind of forks off, and at the last minute we were like, go right, so Doug hooks this turn, and we kind of go off in the ditch for a second, back in the road. They overshoot us. We go down this, we don't know where we're going, and Doug's almost made a wrong turn in this dead end road. I'm like, let me drive. So we do the quickest Chinese fire drill ever. They just slide over. I run around the truck. I get in. Now I'm behind the wheel, which, not that I'm a better driver at all, but just I sort of know the roads. Doug is now in the middle seat of his own truck. Now the gear shift is between his legs. I am peeling back and, back on the road again. The guys have turned back around. They're circling around again. It's just this ridiculous Smokey and the Bandit sort of car chase going on. And they are, a quarter mile behind us. It never got into that TV movie, they're right on our back bumper, kind of shooting the mirrors off sort of chase. But they're coming after us because, one, they're probably mad about us destroying their pot field, but two, like, we now know where the pot field is. At the time, we're not thinking about it, but later on, we're like, were they going to kill us so we didn't go to the cops? Were they going to kill us just for running over the pot? We're like, what's going to happen? We don't know. So many bad scenarios. None of them are good. So we are just driving fiercely. Now I'm driving, and like every time I'm shifting gears, I'm just punching Doug right between his legs. And, it's just chaos. And I won't embellish the story that there was some fantastic getaway. We eventually just made enough turns and got enough distance that they lost us somewhere and we got away. It wasn't we didn't jump the bridge or hide behind a sign or anything cool, but we eventually got away. We were, maybe 10, 15 miles out of town. So we take the longest, most circuitous way back to town we could possibly get to, drop Justin off, drops me off. He actually lives in another town near us. So he goes back to where he is. And so we're all just kind of like, we're alive. There's no bullet holes in the truck. Okay, I'm alive. So the three of us were sort of, three amigos at that time. But there's a certain point when we all just needed to take a break from each other after this, sort of each of us sort of process and download our own experience. So this was like on a Saturday, I think. The next day after church, I had a completely different friend who was not involved in this, Phil. And Phil calls me up and he said, "Hey man, my uncle's having a cookout and a pool party and he said I could bring somebody. You want to come?" I was like, "Sure, sounds awesome," So he comes, picks me up. We're driving, and we're kind of heading out towards that side of town, and kind of get out of the country, and we take this particular road this house is on, and I relayed, some of this story to Phil on the way there, but I had not really told him where the uncle was the guy. So we pull into this driveway, like there's the three-wheeler. There's this big F-150 that had been chasing us that day. Now, he never saw anything of us except the back of our heads. And the guy turned out to be a really great guy. Like, he was funny. He was kind of laughing, he liked cars too. And I like cars. I had an old truck at home and we're talking about trucks and he's, we're swimming in the pool and, we're like 17. He's let us drink beer a little bit, and he's, "Oh, you boys are great. Come on back anytime." I know there was no way he could recognize me, but somehow in my head I was just terrified that he was gonna at some point put two and two together, because the whole time we're hanging out and he's cooking out burgers and hot dogs and we're playing foosball, like he was shooting at me the day before, like trying to kill me, and now we're just hanging out and he's like, "You're a great guy, you come on back anytime, just come hang out, we got the pool, we got the three-wheeler, we'll come out and shoot guns, we got a firing range out back, lots of fun, come on back anytime." I think that event was probably the reason to this day I have never done drugs.
A watch can do a lot more than just tell time. It can make a statement to the world or show people a little bit more about who you want to be. Vincero offers an awesome line of designer watches at a great value that you can check out today at the link in the description below. You can also use the code VINwiki for a discount at checkout. So be sure to check them out and thank them for their support of the channel and find your next watch. It might start a great conversation, turn some heads, or who knows, lead to your next great story.